Alright, welcome, one and all. Today I want to talk about The Greatest Showman. Yes, at last, I've watched The Greatest Showman. It's a long time coming, I'm way late. It's weird with these things. I want to talk about how I first heard about The Greatest Showman, and it was likely before a lot of people did, which is interesting because I remember I follow Instagram on Hugh Jackman, and he was like, I forget what the posts were exactly, but I remember him posting like so passionately about this upcoming movie he's doing, The Greatest Showman, which I had never heard of, and no one around me had heard of. So it was like, this is going to be like a really niche, obscure movie, is what I was really thinking it was going to be. Like 100%, this is going to be a movie like Hugh Jackman is just known for just loving the craft, and like he's not always just about mainstream popularity in movies. He just really loves what he does sometimes, and I was just really taken aback by how passionate he was about his posting, and I was like, I want to watch the movie just based on that alone, just because of Hugh Jackman being so passionate about it. And little did I know that movie would blow up to be one of the biggest phenomenons of the year, and I completely missed the boat on it as well. So not only was I ahead of the curve, but like I dropped it before the curve even began. So here I am, finally having watched the movie, and I'm very interested and I'm also surprised by how I was able to preserve myself and not know really much about the movie other than all the covers I've seen of the songs, like knowing some of the songs going into it. I'd only really seen the picture of like Hugh Jackman in the outfit, and knowing that Zac Efron and Zendaya were also in it. Other than that, somehow I didn't even know that it was going to be about the circus. I had no idea this was a movie all about like the inception of the circus as an idea. I really didn't expect the movie to be centered on P.T. Barnum either, of Barnum and Bailey. Like I didn't know that it was based on a true story or anything. Though that's one of the things about this movie. This is really weird, is that I'm really surprised they took P.T. Barnum and portrayed him like that, because just in like, I didn't do extensive research into this, by the way, but I did do a quick Wikipedia look, as I do sometimes, to see like what kind of stuff just roughly seems accurate based on the movie, just looking at his life and stuff. And P.T. Barnum seems known for being like just a person who was all about the money, and not entirely a morally perfect person. Like he was into the minstrel shows, which, if you don't know what that was, it was a show they did back in the day, early musical theater kind of, where they'd have white men in like blackface doing like parody performances of a lot of the times black people. And I know that P.T. Barnum was like actually pro or like against slavery and pro equality and all that, but he did partake in that. It was kind of a shady part of the entertainment world, like in a retrospect. But it's interesting they took him, and a person, they did cover the flaws of him, where it was like he got kind of caught up in it and was really just became hungry for more and more as it went on. But at the same time, they kind of, as far as I know, in his life he didn't come to this huge epiphany, of course, that no, I'm not going to be blinded by the light anymore. From now on. I love that song so much, by the way. But it's like they took his life and then they put a little asterisk on the end of it, and they were like, let's add this great moment at the end here where he like realized that he was blinded by the light and by the fame and the fortune of it all. But it's like, really looking at the movie, it's like this guy was not great, but he was portrayed as like this legend. I really like the message of it, that it's like the acceptance and everything, and then like not being consumed by the materialistic things. I like that kind of theme of the movie was really cool, I think. But at the same time, it's like I don't know, we kind of gloss over the fact that Barnum he did just kind of run off with this woman for this tour, Jenny. What was her name? Jenny Lind. And he did just kind of leave his wife and children behind for a bit there, but the movie quickly skimmed over that and moved it along to a nice resolution where it's like, oh, we're going to go back to the beach where we used to look at as children, and it's a perfect little resolution, because this is the greatest show. So I want to say I love, love, love the music in this movie. I think it's really outstanding. I immediately downloaded the soundtrack afterwards, and like I said, I had heard covers of the songs, but never any of the songs before the movie themselves. So, I mean, I knew Never Enough. I knew This Is Me, and I knew The Greatest Show from Pentatonix's recent cover that I reacted to. But other than that, I didn't know the others. And I was surprised. Some of my favorite songs actually were the ones that I haven't seen any covers of. Like, I really like Come Alive. I think that's a crazy, crazy cool song. I really like The Other Side with Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron together. That was a really cool scene, too. And A Million Dreams. I'm in love with that song. I think that's like one of the most inspirational, like super uplifting and relatable songs in the movie that I hadn't heard anything about prior. So I don't know if I'm just not privy to the world of more Greatest Showman covers to where that's covered a lot, or if it really isn't covered because I haven't seen it. I'm always seeing never enough covers popping up. I've seen some This Is Me covers here and there, but that one's never come up, and that's one of my favorites, if not my favorite from the album. But I love the high energy. I do love This Is Me. I love most of the songs in the movie. The problem that I have with the movie is the fact that it kind of romanticizes Barnum's life and makes it seem like he's better than he was. Now, that's not a huge flaw for me because I can suspend disbelief for a movie. And it's not like it... I don't think they started the movie saying this is based on a true story. I don't think they did. But if they did, then that may be more of a problem. But they didn't go into it saying it was going to be a biopic, so I don't see too much... I don't take too much issue with that. But it is really weird that they've like made this whole movie based around the idea of a circus and everything. I didn't expect to see, Dog Boy in this movie, even though I knew about... Just like when I'm really fascinated by the freaks of history. So I've looked into in the past people like Dog Boy and the bearded women and things like that, where it's like I'm really just fascinated by them and their success in like these times. But yeah, I didn't expect it. It was interesting. Yeah, by the way, Barnum just kind of really shut the door on his freaks, and he closes the door on them, like literally. He loses sight of what he is there for, and it really took him losing everything for him to regain this sense of why he's doing it in the first place. But you could argue that he's just like, oh wait, well I don't have anything now, so now you're all I have. But if I still had the fame and the fortune, I would be great. I would be fine without you guys. So it's weird. He did come back. He left Jenny. I hope that's the right name, Jenny. But that was a whole thing. He definitely fell in love with her, the way he was watching through that performance. And there were just some moments, like, narrative-wise... Hold on. Shoot. I'm losing track of what I'm saying here. So yeah, the romanticizing is weird, but the biggest problem I have with the movie is just the narrative structure of it in general, the pacing, which, it gets... you can be a little lenient with it because it's a musical, and musicals tend to have... it's obviously not natural from the breakout into songs, so there's going to be some rules broken here. But in terms of pacing, a lot of the relationships didn't feel earned. Zendaya's character kind of came out of nowhere and was just like, oh, she's part of the crew now. And all of a sudden Zac Efron's just in love with her. And now their relationship's having there's a big song they're having now, a duet about their relationship. And it's just really fast things are happening. Jenny comes out of nowhere. She becomes Hugh Jackman, P.T. Burnham's main focus, and she gets a huge ballad. Everybody's watching, everyone's at all. It's a beautiful performance, but I'm like, why did I see her as an antagonistic character in that, she's obviously like the quintessential, like, I'm gonna steal your guy character of the movie, where she's like, the wife can see Barnum looking at her a certain way, and she's like, oh great, cool, this is cool, and now spending a lot of time with her. So you're not meant to root for this character, but yet she still gets put on a pedestal and gets this amazing performance, which is a song that becomes covered so often after the fact. It's just really a weird dynamic of the whole thing that I don't quite understand fully why people love the song. Like, it's a great song. Just like, it's a beautiful song to hear, but like the context of the song, you wouldn't think it would be as huge as it was. That's just a little thought I had. But yeah, the pacing, a little off, because, you know, things are just happening too quickly. The relationships don't feel justified because, like, Zac Efron's character comes out of nowhere. And, like, it's weird because he's, like, his character's kind of like the Bailey to the Barnum of Barnum and Bailey. Yet the character's not named Bailey. So it's like a weird, one of those weird characters that's not exactly historically based, but it's inspired. But he comes out of nowhere, and he becomes a huge focus suddenly, and then it's just like these people keep popping up, and they're suddenly just part of what we're supposed to care about them so much suddenly. Zendaya's character is the weirdest to me because she did just like her first scene she came on, she was just already in the fray. There was no introduction to her coming into it all. There was no backstory. It was just she's part of it, and she's looked down upon for some reason. We don't know exactly why. Like, I'm not sure exactly why she is a freak. If it's just a social class thing, or if it's because she's a dancer, or like a acrobat. I don't know why that makes her a freak instantly, but, you know, it's just like, you know, you have the whole thing with Zac Efron's parents where they look down on her, and she's like, how do you have no shame associating yourself with such a just complete disrespect. And I mean, this is interesting. I like how they resolved all that, and, you know, the concept of acceptance is something I really love. I love that theme for a movie, because it really did feel like a movie made out of love. Just at the same time, as a movie, it doesn't seem completely all there. Just so rushed. Like, if you look at the scenes where he's with Jenny 1 second, they have that whole kissing moment on the paper. Now he's home with Charity, and Charity's like freaking out, about to leave, and he's like, no, please understand. Then, oh shoot. He goes from Jenny to home. Circus is on fire. Complete disaster. Charity's freaking out about that, and then goes to the beach, all these things. It's just moving so quickly, and it's just not natural exactly. But again, it's a musical. The music is the focus, and I really love the music. I think they did an outstanding job there. Not only in terms of the music itself, just listening to it on a soundtrack, but seeing the scenes play out. I think they did them really nicely. So I think that's about it. Hold on. Yeah, I think that's it. So those are my thoughts. I'll be overall more positive than negative on this movie, and I will definitely value this music a lot. Just some of the choices in narrative structure and pacing, not really there for me. So all in all, I think if the music wasn't there, if this wasn't a musical, you take that part away, this movie is just really, really not good. You know, if it was just a directed acted documentary of P.T. Barnum's life, you know, if it was just telling his life without the music, then I just don't think it's there. It wasn't a good way to do it. But the music really, obviously, is the heart of the movie. So I really I'm torn, but I really enjoyed the movie all in all. So thank you for watching. I love you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm sure some of you disagree with me. Maybe some of you agree with me. Let me know what you agree and disagree on. I'm always up to discuss these things. With movies, obviously things are subjective, but I think if you try to take a step back, even if you really love the movie, it's just not all there where it should be. You know, pacing is the hugest thing for me, and character development. Those two are pretty big misses for the movie. To where, you know, you feel a general empathy for these human beings in the situations, but at the same time, your true attachment to a character doesn't feel earned, and it feels like they tried to shove too much into a 2-hour movie, where this could have been spread into 2 different movies almost, and it would have been better for it narratively. But music, beautiful. That's it. I've talked. I keep talking.